My ex left me when I was broke and said I ruined her life. 1 year later, when my startup got funded for $5 million, she sued me for stealing her idea. So I gave her a pitch she'd never forget under oath. Sounds like a movie? No, that was my life. My name is Jake. I'm a software engineer, quiet, focused. I don't post rants. I don't chase drama. I just build. Ava left me at rock bottom when my startup hit its worst slump. She said I was lost, that I wasted her youth. She packed her things and walked out of the cramped apartment we called an office, left one note: "Don't call, we're done." I lost her. I lost access to my old dev environment. I even lost my reputation in the few coder communities she introduced me to. But I didn't lose what mattered most: the idea. 12 months later, with better code, better UX, stronger security, I pitched my revised platform and landed $5 million in seed funding. I was just about to celebrate, and when the lawsuit arrived, Ava was suing me for IP theft, claiming I stole her idea. I didn't rage tweet, didn't beg, didn't negotiate. I looked at my lawyer and said, "I'll answer in the language she understands best, a pitch with a jury." So I built my final deck, not for VCs, but for 12 strangers and one judge. I met Ava at a startup workshop. She was standing in the middle of a crowd casually pouring coffee while pitching a viral branding strategy she built for a nutrition app. I don't remember what she said. I just remember how she said it like the conversation was scripted, and she owned every line. I'm a developer, the quiet type, code in the corner, pass out on my keyboard. I didn't know how to fundraise, I couldn't pitch, but I had an idea: a mental health app powered by behavioral data and adaptive learning. I used to think good code is enough. Then I met Ava. She was the front end to my back end. We started as partners, then became a couple. We moved in, one-bedroom apartment, doubled as our office. I'd code from sunrise to midnight. She'd schedule meetings, build colorful pitch decks, email every early-stage VC she could find. From the outside, we looked like a startup power couple. But inside, it wasn't smooth. Ava was fiery, impatient. She hated delays, hated that I kept testing logic instead of making bold decisions. To her, every opportunity had an expiry date. If you hesitated, you were weak. I wasn't wired like that. I believed in data, in patience, in building slow and right. She called it an excuse for people too scared to fail. We fought a lot. I always apologized first, not because I was wrong, but because I believed one sorry was cheaper than losing your co-founder and your partner. My biggest mistake, thinking she felt the same? 3 months after our first beta launch, the app crashed. Server died. UX wasn't optimized. Users bailed. I blamed myself. Ava disappeared for 3 days. When she came back, she looked me dead in the eye and said, "I don't think you even know what you're doing anymore." Then she started managing the startup accounts. I thought she was helping. Until one morning I logged into our bank account, zero. Gone, everything. Our emergency funds, friends' contributions, even my own savings. No text, no goodbye, just a disappearing act and an empty apartment. Ava took the money and vanished. And I, the developer who thought love and entrepreneurship could coexist, was left alone with one question. Did I just lose the woman I loved? Or did I just survive the most personal startup scam ever pulled? The first sign came from a Zoom call. An angel investor, someone who'd previously backed Calmly, said he was impressed by the level of personalization in our mental health app. He wanted to hear more. I was excited, but Ava went quiet. When I asked what was wrong, she just shrugged. "You think a compliment is enough?" The app still crashes, bugs everywhere, branding still amateur. I nodded, took the feedback, but a few days later, I couldn't log into our company email. Slack said authentication failed, Google Drive gone, every file, every doc, every prototype. I thought it was a tech glitch. I texted Ava, no reply. 3 days later, a friend called. "Dude, I think Ava's demoing your app to another company. She told them she's the sole founder." That's when something broke inside me. I dug through everything. Ava had legally updated our business registration. On paper, I didn't exist anymore. She locked me out of the bank account. Even GitHub, the repo I built line by line, access denied. I remember that night, sitting in a dark room, just me and a blank laptop screen. No data, no co-founder, no relationship, just a flashing message: permission denied. It wasn't just my project she stole. It was my faith in people, in partnership, in the idea that if you gave your best, the person next to you wouldn't be the one with the knife. I didn't call, didn't beg, didn't post on Reddit or write a Medium essay. I just opened a new file, blank, clean, cold. and I started coding again. No partners, no sharing, no us. This time I wasn't building for a startup dream. I was building because I refused to let her write the end of my story. I called it Project V2, not out of revenge, not out of pride, but because I needed to know, can I rebuild a dream? From absolute zero without anyone standing next to me. The new version wasn't just cleaner code, it was a whole new philosophy. No fluff, no investor-friendly buzzwords. I built for users, people like me who felt crushed under anxiety, sleepless nights, and emotional debris no one talks about, like heartbreak or betrayal without closure. Every night I coded from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m., slept a few hours, worked part-time, came back, repeat. No PR, no pitch decks, no fundraising tweets. 6 months in a tiny review on a startup forum pulled in 30,000 downloads. 2 weeks later, I got a call, an angel fund in Chicago. We've been quietly watching your progress for 3 months, they said. I didn't talk much, just sent them the demo. 3 days later, $500,000 hit the new company account. My name, my signature, my terms. I thought I'd finally restarted. But I forgot one thing. When you rebuild something that was stolen from you, you're not just constructing, you're digging up graves. Ava found out. I'm not sure how. Maybe an old friend told her. Maybe she never stopped watching. A week after the funding news went public, I got the email. Her lawyer, a lawsuit. Unlawful use of intellectual property originated during cohabitation. I read the PDF carefully. No rage, no shock. She claimed I reused a product we brainstormed together. She even submitted audio clips from brainstorming sessions where she cherry-picked her voice talking through vision and features. It was well-crafted, manipulative, designed to make me look like the villain. But I didn't post online, didn't subquote her tweets, didn't play the victim. I just opened one folder on my desktop. Counter evidence. Every commit log, every version design, every internal email, backed up, stamped, dated. Not because I expected betrayal, because I'm a developer. I back up everything, even the things I hope I'll never need again. And now they'd be my weapon of choice. Ava chose to fight in the arena she thought she'd win: courts, optics, public sympathy. But what she didn't know. I pitched too, I just do it under oath. 3 days after the lawsuit hit my inbox, I got the court summons. Then the media storm began. Startups' blogs ran headlines like, "Female co-founder vanishes from $5 million project, was it silent sabotage?" Ava went on a press tour, podcasts, LinkedIn posts, even TikTok live streams. She cried, talked about being betrayed by the man she once loved and built dreams with, said I was emotionally disconnected, controlling, and willing to cut anyone to climb higher, claimed she spent sleepless nights strategizing by his side, and used one line everywhere. I was pushed out of the very dream I helped create. It made great TV, but I knew one thing. She wrote that script solo. I didn't go on podcasts, didn't subtweet, didn't countersue. I had 2 habits during that time. Meet with my lawyer, clean old folders from my hard drive. And inside one folder, calls your backup, I found what I needed. Every Zoom meeting, every early call, auto-recorded not out of paranoia but habit. I used them to review tasks while coding. Now they were gold. Line by line, time-stamped. Ava never wrote a single line of code, never touched back-end logic, never contributed to system architecture. She talked branding, fonts, color psychology for teen users, and I respected that. But she didn't build the foundation. She pitched the roof. I sent everything to my lawyer, Amanda, a former classmate from college. She watched it all, then looked up and said, "She may win public sympathy, but in court she needs proof, and you've got all of it." Ava thought I'd react like her, loud, emotional, rallying a crowd. But she forgot. I'm not Nathan from 2 years ago. Not the guy who apologized just to keep the peace. I'm Nathan V2, colder, quieter, with backups for everything, even broken trust. The night before our first court appearance, Ava posted a long piece on LinkedIn. "Tomorrow I'll walk into a room where they call me a leech, but I will speak my truth." I didn't post anything. I just wrote 3 words in my notebook. Let her talk. Because when everything someone says is theater, the only thing that holds up is the .mp3 file. And trust me, I have plenty. My app, now called CalmCore, was quietly mentioned by a leading psychology journal as a breakthrough mental health tool for the next generation. No ads, no paid PR. Just one therapist sharing their honest experience, and everything exploded. Within days, my inbox was flooded. Nonprofits, mental health centers, even school districts wanted to integrate CalmCore into their student support programs. 3 weeks later, Series A closed. $5 million from a San Francisco fund. This time, the company was under one name, only mine. I remember staring at the investor dashboard. No thrill, no smug satisfaction, just a quiet breath like finally untying an old knot. But Ava didn't let it go. She published a long emotional open letter online, longer than the lawsuit she filed. Title: When the person you loved becomes the CEO of the startup you once dreamed of building together without you in it. She talked about late nights under the desk lamp brainstorming in the kitchen and how trust gets crushed by ambition. She never named me, but everyone knew who she meant. The internet split. Some sympathized, some defended me, some asked, "Why won't he speak up?" My answer was simple: because I don't argue with someone who's about to fall. Instead, I met with my lawyer. And I said one thing: I don't want to countersue, but if she takes one more step, I want the net ready. Amanda nodded. The trap was being set not out of revenge, but to let her walk into it, led by her own ambition. Because if there's one thing I know about Ava, she's not afraid to lose. She's only afraid of one thing: watching someone else win without her name on it. The courtroom opened on a Monday morning. Ava walked in wearing a soft beige dress, her hair curled just right. Her expression a crafted mix of heartbreak and poise, like she was auditioning for a Netflix drama not standing trial over millions in equity. Her lawyer's slick performative opened with a 15-minute monologue about trust sacrifice and justice in a male-dominated startup world. They demanded 40% of CalmCore's equity, joint inventorship rights to the emotion sync algorithm, the app's core tech. Their argument: that Ava was the spiritual co-founder, that she helped birth the vision, that she laid emotional foundations for a future she now deserved a piece of. The courtroom held its breath. Then Amanda, my attorney, stepped forward. No theatrics, no filler. She placed 3 things on the table: GitHub commit history showing every line of code written by me from day one to launch; internal email threads between me, Ava, and early tech advisors, where Ava never once contributed to technical feature structure or logic; server access logs proving I was the only person who ever touched the dev and deployment system. Amanda ended with one line, cold, sharp, surgical: no one gets written out of a dream if they were never part of writing it. The opposing lawyer scoffed, tried to pivot. They called Ava to testify. She cried, spoke of loss, of being erased, of wounds that can't be measured in lines of code. Amanda calmly asked, "Can you point to a single component of the current system that you directly conceptualized?" Silence. Then, "Do you have any written record, an email contract, anything proving you co-invented the algorithm?" Still nothing. Finally, the judge delivered a single clinical verdict: there is no convincing evidence that the plaintiff co-created or holds any legal claim over the disputed intellectual property. Case dismissed. No negotiation, no equity split, no compromise. Ava's lawyer lowered his eyes. Ava stared at me, stunned, like she'd just lost a game she thought she wrote the rules for. But what she forgot is, this isn't a love story anymore. It's a company. And in business, you either own it or you hallucinate that you do. Ava walked out of the courtroom with a fractured smile and unfocused eyes. She'd lost. Publicly, clearly, in a fight she thought she had the upper hand in. But I knew Ava. She doesn't stop when she loses. She only stops when there's nothing left to leverage. And at that moment, she still had her reputation. Just a few weeks after the ruling, she resurfaced on LinkedIn. I didn't lose. I learned. And I'll use that experience to help other female founders avoid being erased from their own dreams. Hundreds of likes, dozens of comments. She started building a niche community, hosting webinars, sharing stories about the uncredited role of women in tech startups. I didn't respond. I didn't refute. I simply sent a signal, a leaked announcement. CalmCore is expanding into therapeutic blockchain solutions, hiring a senior communications advisor, female-preferred real-world experience in mental health, plus startups. The job completely fake, but the posting impeccably professional. The application inbox a dummy HR email, run by a legal firm. 3 days later, Ava applied. Her resume included: co-founder of CalmCore, led the strategy for early-stage therapeutic algorithm design, directed product development from beta to funding phase. All lies. Worse, she used our brand, our assets, and a role the court had already ruled she never held. I forwarded the file to Amanda. Within 48 hours, Ava was served with a counter lawsuit. falsifying professional credentials, misrepresenting corporate affiliation, and exploiting IP she had no legal rights to for personal gain. This time, there were no headlines, no podcast appearances, no lawyer volunteering to fight for justice. Just a woman, facing the law, and a trap she never saw coming until it was too late. Because for those who build their legacy on fiction, nothing hurts more than being forced to speak truth under oath. Ava didn't go to jail, but she was fined for falsifying her credentials and officially reprimanded by the Startup Media Ethics Board for misusing a company's identity for personal gain. Several media partners quietly pulled her past interviews. A few workshops got canceled. The community silent. No more defenders, no more spotlight. As for me, for the first time in nearly 2 years, I agreed to speak publicly. A guest on a founder-focused podcast. Topic: betrayal in startups, pain lessons, and rebuilding. The host asked, "If you could do it over, would you still choose to build with her?" I smiled, paused, then said, "Ideas can start with 2 people, but value only comes from the one who's willing to live it when it gets hard." I didn't build my company to get revenge. I built it so I wouldn't be buried in a storyline someone else wrote for me. That episode went viral in under 48 hours. Not because of the drama, but because thousands of listeners, people who'd once been the forgotten foundation of someone else's dream, finally saw themselves in mine. I bought a small house by the coast, the kind of place where mornings sound like waves hitting the shore, and nights are so quiet you don't need music to fall asleep. I still run CalmCore, but only part-time. The rest of my hours go to something new, a free practice platform for psychology students. Because I've learned those who understand pain best rarely have the money to learn how to heal others. No big announcements, no TED Talks, just quiet work, because this time I'm not building to prove anything to anyone. One evening I got an email from Ava, subject line: "One last thing." She wrote, "I know I was wrong, but honestly, you killed me with that silence." I read to the last line, no anger, no pity, just shut the screen. Because I knew she tried to break me with a lawsuit, but what she never realized was that moment, I started turning pain into a $1 million therapy company. Not to get even, but to move forward without needing to explain myself ever again.